is very simple. The reason that Western civilization is prosperous is because we have security of person and possession. That security is lackluster in developing nations, such as Latin America, Africa, and Asia. So what we do is we go into those countries and we convince governments to adopt blockchain technology. We digitize and tokenize all of their data and provide them a software solution to manage their entire government. We have several patented technologies, patent pending technologies, including security features for NFTs, specialized data storage that works with existing government structures, as well as potentially the oldest stablecoin patent back from early 2017. So hopefully once that is awarded, that we will have the oldest stablecoin patent for that. Our business model is very simple. Once we provide this tech to the governments, all transactions going forward, we take a commission. And that commission is paid in whatever the local currency is. It's fiat. In the case of El Salvador, where we are expanding nationally, we would ever get paid in Bitcoin and in the local currency, which is dollars. We have our own coin that will be launching in the next couple of weeks, no more than about a month and a half from now. It'll be launched on, it's actually going to go live on several launchpads first, and then it's going to go live on multiple centralized exchanges. Now that coin, when you buy it and hold it, you get to automatically stake. And the way that our tokenomics work, 25% of gross revenue from the company goes back into the liquidity of the coin. So there is no more coins being minted, but the value of each individual token will be increased perpetually. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't share a screen. I can't share a video myself because my computer lacks a video camera. But I will share a screen so I can show you kind of the presentation.
That would be appreciated.
Yeah. Do you guys see everything or just the one thing?
Yeah, I can see. I think it's better.
Sorry, what?
I can see your screen and your Telegram. So is it possible to minimize it so we shouldn't be seeing?
Yeah.
That's better.
Okay, so I'll just quickly run down the presentation. By the way, the coin name is actually DTV, but when we first contemplated the coin, it stands for Delnorte Television, which is the name of our government CRM. When we first were going to launch this several years ago, before the market crashed in 2022, we were the only DTV project out there. But since then, there was several other ones with that same name. Now, luckily, I think all of them have disappeared now, so we will be rebranding back to DTV. And DTVT just means DTV token. So this is some of the screenshots of our tech. Basically, the idea is very simple. Because we're able to interact with government in real time, we're able to register documents in real time. So documents in the NFT format, things like deeds, titles, IDs, patents. In the case specifically of deeds, and you can kind of see it here. This is clearly real estate properties, because in the case of deeds, because the government accepts NFTs as actual deeds, and they can register those actual deeds in real time, we can do real-time real estate transactions. So instead of taking months to register your property and do the whole transaction process on our system, it can take minutes. And the same thing with fractional real estate investment. We can sell fractional pieces of the real estate property. And in the places where we are operating and working with the government, the law already exists that by buying a fraction of a property, like a square foot or a square meter of a house, you actually own the right to that square meter or to that property. So it is a real ownership, unlike in the US where you have to register as a security. In the developing countries, that fractional ownership is direct ownership of that asset. It's a special kind of ownership, but it gives you the full use of that property or of the property. And this is just some of the things that we're solving. I don't know if you guys have been following the U.S. politics, but it seems that there is fraud and corruption, not just in the developing world, but over here as well. And it's a lot of it stems because of the fact that traditional way that we store our data, which is in documents, it's easily corruptible. And so our goal is to move all of that data in a specific way with our patent technology onto the blockchain. So what our tech does is it prevents it. It has a receipt that is saved on the blockchain for every transaction, but the actual data is still stored centrally. So every access to that data and every interaction with the data is stored on the blockchain. And so there's no way to do any kind of changes without everybody knowing or everybody who has access to it. So here's some of the ideas of the value proposition is that we will effectively be interacting with every kind of business that has to do with the government. So one of the things that we're doing is we're basically building an app store type of environment where anybody can come in and build their own applications on top of the government database. The same way that today you can build applications for the iPhone or for the Android, you'll be able to build applications with the country as the user basis. And one of the things that we already have, it's not shown in this presentation, but it is something that we will be announcing very soon, is a payment processor, a legal payment processor. So we will be an on and off ramp for fiat and crypto instantly for the entire population of the governments with which we already work with. So that includes El Salvador, Honduras, and Mexico. And there are 2 more governments that we are signing up and announcing before the coin launches in the next 30 to 40 days. I'm not going to disclose what those governments are, but they are very big ones. All of this is in the North American and North, Central, and South American continent. So these are countries in Central and South America, and of course North America.
That's fantastic. Is it possible I could dive in with my couple of questions and then,
Sure.
moving forward? Because I think I have a bunch of questions from my side and also take some community questions as well. So let's talk about the advantages. Can you walk us through the advantages of Delnorte's decentralized application store ecosystem? What is the advantage does it give?
Guys.
So there's a lot of echo.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine, but
I can answer to this one if you want, guys.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, so basically the advantage of having our own proprietary app store is basically that the developers get opportunity to innovate and create new applications based on the fact that they will have now access to public government data. So basically, there will be more applications, making it easier for people to get some services or have services through government using that data. So that just opens another way, another opportunity for the developers, as well as making it easy for people. Because right now there is not so many options when interacting with government, except for just going to the office physically. So yeah, if that was your question. So the idea is that basically a developer will get access to legal public government data, and he will create new innovative ways to basically apply it to a new use case.
That's
Yeah,
nice. Thanks for the clarification. So, moving ahead to my second question, how does the DVT token facilitate secure transaction between public sectors?
so the token, it's a utility token. Basically, what it does is whenever you sign on to this new system, if you, let's say you live in El Salvador, right, and you sign on to this new system to tokenize your, you want to tokenize your deed. Now, in El Salvador is a special case because they already have crypto wallets that were issued by the government. And in this case, a little message would pop up, and they would say, "Would you like to register your deed one time on the blockchain?" And then going forward, you basically have title insurance, which is not a thing that really exists in developing countries. But we are providing them a technological solution for that problem. So they would say, "Yes, I do." They pay a small fee, and now their deed is in an NFT format. Going forward, now they can take that deed. They can participate in online marketplace for real estate transactions. They can sell their private data. They can connect that NFT to third-party networks, like maybe networks that collect carbon credits and create carbon credits and trade them, or some system that monitors solar radiation, wind, electricity use, sewer and water usage. So all of these things, all of these millions of data points that you generate right now that are either going to waste or are being used by and monetized by third-party services like Google and Facebook and these other huge corporations. Now you will have ownership of that data, and you will have the ability to sell that data at your own will to anyone you want if you choose to do so. Our tech allows you and allows everybody to see that the data is yours, but you have the ability to hide whatever data you want from the public. So it is public information, but it is not completely publicly visible. So only the base layer is visible. The reason we developed it like that, and the reason that the patent that I created is set up like that, is because some of these countries are still dangerous where we work, and we don't want a bunch of rich people getting kidnapped and extorted. So basically, you are able to show somebody that, hey, I own this property, by showing them this barcode that we've created for the NFT that will read through the government database that this is in fact a real property and you do actually own it, but the person will only see a bunch of lines. And it works basically on the same principle as the barcode itself, just on the blockchain. So that's the answer here.
Okay, I see that. Thanks for the clarification. So let's talk about basically when it comes to like the perspective of you guys developing and for a long term at this point, what is the biggest challenges you guys have faced, and how did you plan to solve them? Because it's the projects, and there's definitely gonna be like a two-sided way here and there, probably facing hacking issues, scamming issues, and all this stuff. So how did you guys plan on solving your challenges, and how did you solve them from the past while creating the project?
The biggest challenge and the one that took the longest to solve is actually getting governments on board. To my knowledge, we are the only company in the world that has got multiple government contracts. We're at 5 now, and we will be at 7, like I said, in the next couple of weeks. Latest this quarter, this first quarter of this year, with 5 different countries. One of them, well, I'm sure you've heard of all of them actually, but one is a very big one that everybody knows. So the reason that was the biggest challenge is because governments are very slow to change and slow to adopt, and there was quite a big resistance to going transparent. And really, our first big breakthrough, where we kind of like solidified our foothold, was actually in El Salvador, when Bukele's second term was announced. Now, we had already been doing, our first contract was our second contract was actually in El Salvador, and we had a pilot program there for close to 3 years by the time Bukele had his second term. And when he did get his second term, in a short order, with, again, 3 years of work, we were able to progress to a national deal. So now we're expanding there nationally. And today, just in the last couple of months, the atmosphere politically around the world has shifted a lot. So now our biggest challenge is not getting through to the government. Our biggest challenge is raising enough money so that we can keep up with the expansion and the demand. Because we're getting calls now from all over the world that was governments saying, hey, we need this in our administration because we don't want to be fired by the population.
Because also, in a way, we are adding a new... in a way, we are adding a new layer to real world assets like RWA projects, because we are acting as a link that connects the blockchain technology, the tokenization, with the government data. So this is the way basically to do it legally, when you have a tokenized asset and it is recognized by the government. So yeah, the biggest challenge was obviously getting the government recognition, these contracts. And going further, we are aiming to implement AI elements like AI agents that will act on behalf of the citizens, people. And
So RWAs, obviously, I'm sure everybody on this call knows about them. And there's many RWA companies out there, but the real big difference between us and really everybody else is, in order for any RWA to actually represent that asset legitimately, the issue, aka the government, has to certify that document, say this NFT really does represent that asset. It's not just some company or some person saying this NFT equals this house. The government is the one that gives you the right to do so, whether you agree with it or not. That's just how things work right now. We are the only ones that are actually going into the government, giving them that solution. So when you mint an NFT of your deed on our system, it isn't us that is minting the NFT for you. It's the actual government that's doing this. So the difference is very simple. With everybody else, it's that person or that company saying this NFT equals this house. With us, it is the government saying that this NFT equals this house.
That's fantastic. So, since you guys are looking forward to launch your token probably in the next days or so, how did you plan to maintain community, feedbacks and keeping the community active and, generating feedback from the audience, having some, interactive members, talking to them, having some idea on how things should go after the launch. You guys are not gonna like launch and then, sit quietly and all this stuff. So how did you plan to engage with your community members and people who actually participate in the private sale and all this stuff?
Danny, that would be you.
yeah, we do have our community group where we are quite often discussing about the future of the project, updating our members. But yeah, as of right now, we are basically working on developing our software solution, and we just need to sign up these new contracts, do the release of our project, and we have a roadmap basically that states that has a milestones basically to deliver step by step the goals that we have. Yeah, if that was the question. So, but in general, yeah, we are actively engaging with our community. We have our social media channels. We have our Telegram group as well here, where we are sharing all the updates. Like, this isn't being done behind the curtains. We are actually very active in the sense that we talk to our community, we update.
Yeah, we also we've been around for a number of years. The company's officially been around since 2019. We won multiple awards. We won, top 10 tech companies in Latin America in Forbes last year. We won an award from second offshoot of World Economic Forum, and then a bunch of other awards. We've been in a number of big traditional magazines as well as crypto magazines, and right now we are focusing on a big push. We've also been endorsed by dozens of politicians, and again, as we get closer to the launch, a lot more of these endorsements by celebrities, crypto celebrities, politicians, and everything like that. All of that will come out. So yeah. Any other questions?
Definitely, there are definitely other questions I would like to ask. So let's talk about partnerships. How did you guys plan to incorporate partnerships and establish with other platforms?
Well, depending on the projects within the ecosystem that we operate, we will obviously come up. We have few partnerships in line that we're planning to announce, but that's just part of the marketing plan where we are going to do this push towards the actual token generation event. So yeah, we are definitely going to partner up with other blockchain projects, especially in the RWA sector.
So we have several pending partnerships. We're not going to be announcing them just yet, but we will be dropping more and more announcements as we get closer to the launch. And then after, for the rest of the year, we have a steady stream of news with a variety of new partnerships, as well as a multitude of new governments that are joining to get tokenized. So this is where the world is heading to.
That's cool. So how does the Delnorte platform support real-world asset tokenization and securely? How did you guys plan to do so?
How do we support real-world assets? So our business model is very simple. Our customer is actually the government. We provide the technology, the full stack technology, which is the management platform, which also comes with the tokenization aspect and an AI part. Again, hopefully within the next 30 days, we'll have a full-fledged demo. But our NFT AI system, basically, as long as you know how to talk and just text regular English, you can say, draw a picture, draw a circle around this map, and then everybody inside that map whitelist their wallets and create an NFT of that community, and do some kind of a social program or whatever inside that NFT, publicize it, and anybody who donates, that the money will go directly into that whitelisted wallet. So those type of things we can do with AI right now. Again, we're just finalizing some things. We'll have that fully functional, not just a demo version, but a fully functional version up on our website in the next couple of weeks. So again, our customer is the actual government. We just provide the service to the government, and then the government pushes that service out to all of their citizens. Initially, obviously, it will be voluntary, but as time goes on, it will be more and more advantageous to use our system, as it's just cheaper, easier, and much safer. Plus, the transparency and security and all that other features. than to do the traditional system. Today, if you want to go and register or file some kind of document in pretty much any developing country, you have to physically go to a location. You have to physically go to a clerk, wait in line. You're going to spend time. You're going to spend money doing it, transportation costs, etc. Versus us, you'll just be able to do it on the phone, and it's more secure. And if there's an issue, you'll get a pop-up with AI saying, "Hey, you misspelled something or whatever," and you just fix it in real time. You don't have to go back to the office to fix things. I mean, it's just a much better system.
That's nice. Cool. So let's talk about the decentralization with regulatory compliances. How did you guys plan to balance that?
So we work within the confines of the law. In some cases, in the past, we have changed rules in order to make them work with the kind of tech that we want to introduce. Now, today, we tend not to do that. It's not really necessary. A lot of the legislation is catching up to the technology right now. Again, the laws are usually like 5-10 years behind on things, but there is sufficient legislation in most of the countries, certainly all the ones we operate in, to allow us to implement this type of solution today.
Especially in the data that we will be exposing third parties like developers is not a private data. It's basically a public government data to which anyone in theory has access, just doesn't have an easy entry point to reveal it. So in that sense, we are not we are basically simplifying the access to that data, and being decentralized, being on blockchain, we just make sure that it's immutable, that it's transparent and efficient.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thanks, man. Thanks for the clarification. So what impact does the Delnorte have in terms of like the blockchain integration, and how legal is the process?
Well, the long-term impact of having this type of technology integrated into somebody's developing countries would be akin to the introduction of the cell phone into these countries as well, from years prior, where in the past they went from mostly agricultural communities to mining and agriculture, I guess, to now with the introduction of cell phone technology and just basic internet communication of Web 2, to now having unicorn companies in sprouting in developing nations, certainly in Africa and in Latin America. So with this type of technology, really anyone will be able to, well, number one, everybody will be able to secure their property, which is massive, because today, the reason we have all of these caravans and the reason we have all this migration, most of us are economic migrants. They can't create wealth back home, so they have to seek it somewhere else. If they are able to secure whatever assets they're able to gather back home, most people tend not to want to leave their homes and tend not to want to travel, especially through dangerous terrain. So with that, a lot of that migration situation is going to subside again, and because they can build wealth back home, they can also borrow against that wealth. Once you can prove ownership of something, that asset becomes financeable. And our goal, certainly long term, is to liquefy all of the illiquid assets, such as real estate, such as mineral rights, such as water and whatever, land and everything like that, because there is no reason that the real estate, I mean, the only reason that the real estate in, for example, Miami, in Florida, in the United States, is more expensive than it is in, let's say, Mexico or Central America, is because the property rights are stronger in the United States. And you know that when you're buying a house in America, most likely nobody's going to steal it from you. Whereas that's not the case when you shop somewhere else. And because of that, the value is completely depressed. When those things are equal, the values should be equal as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Awesome. So, moving ahead to my next question before I open the floor to the community question. In terms of like your goals and accomplishments, what are you guys looking for to achieve with the DTV tokens and your future goals in terms of like keeping, a longevity projects, not like all this pump and dump and all this stuff. How did you guys plan to maintain long-term roadmap?
Well, we're definitely not a pump and dump. I mean, we literally have dozens of politicians and celebrities involved, as well as actual government contracts with multiple governments, and that's only increasing as time goes on. We also don't need to do anything like that because our tokens, they're going to be used by citizens of multiple nations right out the gate. Like I mentioned earlier, that when a person signs up to the system, basically, let's say they just want to interact with the government on their phone rather than at the clerk's office, they will be asked, would you like to do a one-time payment with a specific price yet, but it'll be like $5 to $10, where they will buy, that dollar equivalent in DTV tokens, store it in their wallet, and then forever going forward, they get a discount of all government transactions, and it will be a substantial discount, like within 30% range. So initially, that's how we plan on growing, and then down the road, when a sufficient number of assets has been tokenized, we can introduce DeFi systems. We can introduce liquidity pools based on real world assets, such as real estate.
Yeah, the staking of the token as well to rewards, to give idle rewards to the token stakers. So in that sense, yeah, Anton said it correct. We don't. Our business model is not requiring, and it would actually work against us if it would be a pump and dump project, because that does not sustain any kind of
No,
continuity.
I'm not kind of like saying it's a pump and dump. Like in terms of like what I wanted to, incorporate in terms of like keeping the token on a good value motion, not kind of like
No,
sharing that other stuff.
the value of the token derives from the fact that it will be used for the interaction with all the government services. And as Anton said, having these initial subscriptions from the people that will actually download the app and start interacting with token, obviously it will create scarcity. We also have in plan to basically implement some token burning mechanisms, as well as I said, like staking. So in that sense, the value of the token will be coming there from there as well. And yeah.
I see. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
So,
I don't want to say, let me just clarify this. I don't want to use the word compelled, but because our client is the government and the government will be offering this service to the public over time, that will be the only service that will be the only way the public interacts with the government is through this type of system. Because it's just much more efficient, it's easier, and it's cost saving to the government itself. So they're not going to be compelling anybody initially, but over time, it's just going to be online. And you can see this around the world, whether it's parking meters to, any kind of other government services, where it used to be everything on pen and paper. Today, it's not. It's certainly not in any developed country. So we're just bringing that tech solution to the world.
Awesome. So I think that's pretty much I would like to take. Before we jump into the community question, is there anything you would like to talk about, like concerning the roadmap? And if not so, I would like to, take some question from the audience and from the text as well. I mean, also from my VM.
Yeah, we should be announcing a launchpad. We'll be listing on a launchpad very soon. Hopefully, maybe even this week we'll be announcing that. And then after that announcement, about give or take 30 days from there, we will be launching on several top 10 centralized exchanges. Right now, we do have a pre-sale going on, which is right here. It's right on our website for these tokens.
Awesome. I think we didn't talk about the tokenomics. I missed that part. Probably we might touch on it. I didn't recap. Is it possible you could walk us through?
Yeah, sure. Also, all of our documents are available right here. Our white paper and our tokenomics. And I can kind of go through this. We have a total of 50 million tokens outstanding. There's not going to be any more. There's no mechanism to create new tokens of any kind. As of now, there's also no burn mechanism either, but there is a liquidity mechanism. So once the tokens are out there on the float, every quarter, 25% of the gross revenue that the company generates from its business with the government and the private sector will be sent equally distributed between various centralized exchanges that carry us. It'll be sent in to provide additional liquidity for the coin and give the coin additional new value. So over time, the coin will be only growing. It's not pegged to anything. I mean, it is pegged to our business, and our business is pegged to governments right now. So as we grow, this whole thing will grow as well, and the value of the coin will grow as well. Yeah. Now the actual breakdown. Let me see if I can show it here. Now we are an Ethereum token. We are a layer 2 on Ethereum. The reason we went with Ethereum is because, in my opinion, Ethereum it is the most decentralized cryptocurrency out there. I think even more so than Bitcoin. There is no one person that owns 2% of all the Ethereum. For example, Michael Saylor, great guy, but he does own, I think, like 2% of all the Bitcoins at this point. So that's not a thing with Ethereum. We didn't go with Solana because, for the very simple reason that Solana has an admin panel, meaning that the people that manage Solana, they can just turn it off. They can shut down your transactions, and we cannot have that, especially when you're dealing with governments. So that type of thing on Ethereum, not really an issue. It is while it is definitely not the cheapest system, but we're able to do layer 2 to show. We were able to do layer 2 to show that to do much cheaper transactions like on Base. It's not even a bridge. It's just you just use a Base network to do transactions. So it's almost not free, obviously, but it's very, very cheap. Now the total amount of coins that I'm trying to find where the actual token split is. The patent. Do you have any other questions in the meantime while I look for this
Yeah,
thing?
I think I wanted to open the floor to the audience question and also, inside the one that has been sent to me as well in DM. So if possible, we could take some community questions as well. Let's hear from them. Let's hear from the audience. So if anyone do have a question, raise up your hand. If you're shy to speak, send me your question in my DM. And I think that's all. Let's start with Jordan. Hey, Jordan, your mic is unmuted.
Yeah, I hope you guys can hear me.
Definitely. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, basically, I just wanted to know, concerning the the structure that is being set to spread this just more than the short term. Obviously, you talked a little bit about when you guys had that back and forth and stuff, about the pump and dump and stuff like that. But obviously, you said it isn't that. So I just wanted to know how is this set up for the long term, and how people can just readily get this information available and know that you guys are for the long term.
Danny, do you wanna take that answer? Well, I think he dropped off. It's okay. I will answer that. Sorry, can you repeat it, please? Can you repeat the question?
So basically, the question is, what are the structures? Basically the whole infrastructure that that is set up concerning the project that is going to give us the people coming in the assurance that this is for the long term.
Well, the reason, this is for the long term because I've been doing this for 7 years. Again, this is a real business for me. It's a massive, it has a massive business potential as a business. The coins and these tokens that potentially you guys would be buying, the idea behind them is you'll be able to, in a sense, participate in government transactions and benefit from government transactions. The better the government does, the wealthier the country becomes, the more value is added to the actual tokens themselves. So, in the case of also, which is our I guess like a crown jewel of all our projects, President Bukele, he wants to make that country into the next Singapore. Like he wants it to be wealthy and safe and affluent, and he wants to make it a tech hub. And I think recently the head of Tether said that he was going to be moving headquarters over there. So those type of things, you don't just get that. I mean, yes, you can get it over time, but with today's technology, the fastest path to that type of development is to show foreign investors that, hey, if you buy land here, if you build a house here, if you invest into this country, we're going to give you documents that are going to be in this NFT format that are going to be stored on the blockchain. They're going to be completely secured. And you have that safety and security of your investment. That's not the case with most of the countries today. Because the countries you invest and somebody can come and take your stuff and that's it. You don't really have any recourse. Good luck suing the government. Even if you win, you're unlikely to collect. In this case, can somebody put a gun to your head and steal your stuff? Sure, but there'll be a track record of everything. There'll be a track record of all the transactions. They'll show. You'll see that, this deed was assigned from person A to person B, and there was no financial contribution given. So something is wrong there. So in our system, we are really the only company that's doing this anywhere in the world. We are first to, we have first mover advantage. We literally don't have any competition, certainly not in Central and South America. And if the big boys like the Amazons, the Googles, they want to come in, they're not going to go to El Salvador. They're not going to go to Honduras. They're not going to go to Nicaragua and Costa Rica. They're going to go to LA. They're going to go to, Texas or Europe or something like that. Because, the GDP of an LA neighborhood is bigger than the GDP of Honduras. It's not a joke. It's a fact. So, but the population it is there. You talk about Latin America, Central and South, we're it's close to 600 million people. That's a lot of transactions. And as somebody who's coming into this deal with money transmission licenses in the United States and in those countries, and able to provide on and off ramps, I mean, that business by itself is it's a massive revenue growth potential for us.
Anton, did you mention that we already have licenses in Brazil as well as in America?
Yeah, we have. So one of the things we're going to market with is we have 16 money transmission licenses in the United States. So 16 states in the United States, we can collect cash and crypto, move it around the world, and pay out in cash or crypto, either or. We're not a crypto exchange, but by the amount of licenses, we're the number 9 largest crypto exchange in America. And then we also have a license in Brazil, and we're getting one in El Salvador right now. So that means anybody in the United States can send dollars, and somebody in Brazil can pick it up in Bitcoin or Ethereum or DTV tokens. And all of that revenue is going to go into our token. And why do we have a token? Because it's beneficial for everybody. Because our goal is to create wealth and security for the people, and that is how we're going to do it.
Hope that
And we can
answered
show
the
people
question further.
all this information too.
Yeah,
What?
guys, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thanks, man. So let's take 2 more, if possible. Let's take from Achiri. Hi, Achiri.
Hi guys, that's good.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's going well. Thank you very much for the opportunity of speaking. Hi A. It's great to be with you again. Hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. A, right?
Mine? Anton. A-N-T-O-N.
Anton. Okay. So I didn't join the AMA on time, but little of the things which I overheard you guys talking about and how you guys implicate benefits of tokens and how you guys work closer with the real estate with the real world tokens. I would want to say that this is a really nice one. Inculcating real estate into the real world projects and also trying to bring it on the blockchain. It's something which is which I would say it's something which really makes sense because most people are really going on the blockchain right now, and selling of real estate on the blockchain too is really nice. But I would want to talk about your investors outreach and what you guys are planning concerning that, because while I was going through your website, there was something which I saw which caught my attention, and that was the plans you guys have. I would say that's like kind of a roadmap where you put something which now I see what's the current stage of the development, and I see that you guys are nearing launch, and also your market focus. You said you are focused on North and Central America. Like, how do you guys what's the deal with this, and how do you plan to inculcate this with investors? How would you want VCs or KOLs to be able to take up this and also maybe invest in this? What's the plan for that?
Are you asking how people can invest in this?
Yeah, KOLs and VCs. Like, do you have
key opinion leaders.
We are so we are. There are like only 2 VCs and 1 DAO that invested in us. When I started doing this, people literally like laughed and said, "Oh, you're never going to get any government contracts. It's impossible." Da 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 da. So now it's not funny anymore because I've gotten many of these things now done. But yeah, it was very difficult. Certainly, with the previous market environment to gain any kind of traction with VCs. So the only 2 VCs that I have, I personally know them from before, and so they invested. But we're basically funded by community and
Also,
friends and family, the whole thing.
Also,
we
actually,
didn't raise like huge amount of money, and we did a lot with the money that we did raise.
also going forward, we are planning. We basically are working right now on launching on multiple launchpads, token launchpads for our private sale, as well as I am. If you are guys familiar with Echo.xyz, it's basically an investment platform. So I'm talking right now actively with the investment group managers to actually get us listed there as well. So we are really trying to capture the vast majority of like the crypto community rather than having a big check investors, which basically is much easy to get rather than to attract the crypto community's attention. So, but we are working on it, and definitely with the soon to come, basically within these few days, the announcement about the launchpad private sale, I think we are going to get much more traction as well as be in front of the crypto community's eyes. So the launchpad I'm referring to, I obviously I cannot give the name, but we are talking about the big ones right now. So yeah, and hopefully that's how we're going to actually do the token sale. We want let's say 1 million people investing $1 rather than having one check for $1 million basically. And yeah, and mostly our focus obviously will be especially post let's say private sale, we are going to focus on America, North and South Central America, because obviously that's where our market is right now. And I think one of the things that will help us vastly is the fact that we actually have the government contracts, and it's in government's interest to make their citizens use the service which we will be providing. So I don't think there will be big challenges there. And currently, yeah, we are. I think everything is going according to plan.
Okay, all right. That sounds good. But I heard you talking about launchpads and also.
Sorry. Hey, Cheese, you guys should know get annoyed. Is it possible to call this and you could discuss the further question in their chat, or you could DM them, because I want to, unmute someone else and we're running out of time.
All good, man. Thank you. I really appreciate your questions.
Thanks, man. So let's go with Sugar J. Hey, Sugar J, your mic is unmuted. Sugar J, you can go ahead and speak.
Hello, good evening. Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
We can hear you.
Okay. One quick question will be, what impact does your company anticipate its technology will have on the broader Latino America real estate, the energy, the conservation sectors in the next 5-10 years? Impact will it have?
Oh, I can tell you that. That's easy. I can tell you that because I've spoken about this at the United Nations before. So United Nations has 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And, they range from smart cities to, health and wellness, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The number one cause, of these problems is poverty. And the number one cause of poverty is inability to create sustainable wealth. And the number one cause of that is terrible documentation. When your assets are not secured and your person is not secured, you now then become, you're not financeable. So you have to travel to a place where you can't create wealth and you can't secure assets. So if we bring that security to these countries, they now can start creating wealth back home. That wealth will eventually reverberate into everything else. So into everything from gender equality to smart cities to preservation of nature. Why? Because if I'm a rich person and I live next to a nice jungle, I don't want that jungle to be torn down to make paper for the paper industry, right? Or cattle farming, whatever. If I'm poor, I don't really have a lot of say. But the best way to solve a lot of these problems is to make people rich. And the best way to make people rich is to give them secure assets. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
Well,
Yes,
you need to also understand that the moment you have a legal record of ownership of something on blockchain, you can actually carry your credit score or your net worth
Around the world.
around the world with you. So the next institute, the next financial institute who's going to sponsor you or whatever, can actually look into
We can't
profile
hear you.
and see what you own and what you don't. Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, as
Okay.
far as our vesting schedule and all that stuff, it's right here, but you'll be able to find it if you just click the Gitbook here. And
Okay.
the DTV tokenomics, you can see all our tokenomics here. I don't need to go into all the details, but it's all written out right here.
All right.
All
Thank
right,
you so
perfect.
much.
Thanks for the question, Sugar J. I hope that answered your question. So I think that's pretty much all we're gonna take since we're running out of time. Or do you want to take more, Anton?
Yeah, as far as if anybody's interested in investing right now, the round that you would be investing in is in this round right here. It's pre-sale 1. This pre-sale 2, that is the one that is going on to launchpads. And then once this one is done, then there is this one, which is the public sale. But really, initially, there's no more than about 8% of the tokens that'll be on the flow day 1, and then it'll take about 2 years, depending on which pool, to unlock everything. So I am in the founders round right here. So before I see all my tokens, it's going to be 2 years. So there's, like I said, if they were asking about rug pulls, like there's not a lot for us to run.
No problem. So let's take last one from Aviator. Hey, Aviator, your mic is muted, but go ahead and speak.
Hello?
Hey, Aviator, are you there? I give Aviator a chance to speak. Seems like he's having some mic issue. So I think that's pretty much all we're gonna take for today. And also those
You
are
want to do like 2 more questions?
yeah. I'll mute it somewhere and it's finding it.
By the way, anyone who is missing out or will have any further questions, you guys can always welcome to our group here in Telegram and just ask the question. Obviously, one of us will definitely get back with the answer. Oh, I think Aviator is back.
Okay, Aviator, you can go ahead.
Hi guys, can you guys hear me clearly?
Yeah, we can
Yes.
hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much. Hi Jenny. Hi A. And it's been really good. So I kind of once the session is over, I'm gonna go back to the recording and go through it. I kind of missed the whole session a little bit, but prior to the session starting, I went through the webpage, went through a little bit on the Gitbook, did a little bit of a research, read through. And one thing I had in mind, maybe you might have talked about it during the session, was about the assets that could be tokenized. I just wanted to know what type of assets could be tokenized on the. So
I can tell you that. So our system is designed to tokenize anything that's any kind of government data. So anything that is certified by the government, that could be vehicles, it could be houses, it could be your ID, it could be your patent, it could be your traffic ticket, right? So any kind of documentation issued by the government. Now, as far as the secondary system, which is the app store that runs on top of the government database, that technology, we can tokenize really anything. You'll be able to tokenize your chickens or whatever. Really anything. Yeah, there is no limit to what you can tokenize. Token is just a digital representation of an item, digital item or physical item. So in our system, yeah, you can tokenize anything. Now we focus on real world assets, and specifically on the assets that are validated by the government. But the system can easily be used by a corporation the same way like as it's used by the government or by a private individual. If that makes sense.
Also, obviously, when we are talking about when we are talking about the IP tokenization, we are talking about soul-bound tokens in the sense that obviously it's a different tokenization compared to the traditional one. So people won't be able to send their IDs left and right to each other, but they will be able. They'll have a soul-bound token which will basically act as a key to verify their presence and that it's them. So that's actually adding also a security element to the things, to the government services. So today, if it's like an SMS code that you need to put in to get access to a certain gated, let's say, services to prove, to verify yourself, it is going to be going forward your soul-bound token, which will act as your digital ID, like a signature.
All right. Thank you very much. Basically, yeah, it kind of like answered a little bit of my question. Yeah. I just wanted to know if these tokenized properties. I just want to know how these tokenized properties kind of like function in terms of ownership transfers and legal documentations. Like basically how does the Delnorte's system kind of like ensure the legal recognition of tokenized properties assets and the likes?
So the way government transacts and reports properties today, like when you buy and sell a house, there's lawyers involved, brokers involved. There's a history of paperwork that is compiled and then presented to the government. The government checks it, and then they stamp. The county clerk or whoever, they will stamp the documents and give it back to you. Now your new deed is the actual deed. So this is no different. It's just now all digital and in real time. And you in real time can see, okay, this guy checked the document, it went on to this guy. This guy checked the document, it went to the next guy. And that's all it is. It doesn't really change the structure of the deal. It just changes the method of communication, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. I heard you earlier when we were talking about how the US kind of like function in terms of stuff like that, and especially I know with the whole issues with the new presidency coming up and the whole Trump issues going on around the US currently and recently, it could pose a little bit of a challenge with everything that is. A lot of things are going to be changing. A lot of industries are actually going to be affected. I think the immigration industry is already being affected already, and a lot of and if care is not taken, real estates and the likes are also going to be affected in due terms. But we all hope that it goes for the good and to the betterment of individuals in the US, and also for immigrants who will be coming into the US from there. But aside that, a big thank you to you for your transparency and your answer. I really appreciate it. I'll be recording later on, and if I have more questions, I'll be shooting you a DM. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other? One more question we can do.
Yeah,
Anybody have anything?
Yeah,
No?
someone sent me a question from the theme. I want you to touch on it. Give me a second. What did it say? Okay, how does the Delnorte DTV token facilitate seamless financial transaction between the public and private sector, and what measures are in place to ensure security and compliance?
So the compliance issue is resolved very simple because the transactions are initiated by the government itself. So every transaction is validated by the government. It's either initiated by the government or it's validated by the government. So the compliance is automatic. I mean, it's the government that their interest compliance, right? Security measure, obviously there is the, again, you guys should read this whole document here because it does talk a lot about how we secure all this data. But yeah, it's everything is stored on the, at least in this case, will be stored on the Ethereum network. Our tech is chain agnostic. We actually previously worked with Near, and we worked with Cartesian, we worked with what are called Matic. It used to be called Polygon. So we are able to replicate the same system on any blockchain, technically speaking. Having said that, though, the same security that is afforded to the Ethereum network is afforded to us, both to our NFT deeds and to the coin itself. So I don't know if that answers your question in a short synopsis. And then I guess that's it because you read the guy's question. So
much. I think that's pretty.
One other announcement I'd like to make is we will be doing airdrops in the near future, so you guys should follow us.
No problem. But I think you should tell them so they can participate in that in your community, because all I do advise is, I expect users to go by themselves, since it's all about transparency. I expect them to go by themselves, go grab a token and hold it and see the benefit of it, rather than getting it for free sometimes. So
well, I mean, the airdrop is not like
as Anton said, basically basically getting close to our private sale and the announcements around it. We are definitely going to host some contests, different giveaways, and I think it's very healthy, organic community environment that we're having, without any kind of this crazy speculative elements being in place. So whoever genuinely wants to discuss technology, genuinely wants to know the future and the potential of the project, as well as be rewarded for being an early community member of our project, you guys are always welcome. We are really happy to answer any kinds of questions that you have. And as Anton said, soon enough we will be having various giveaways, and especially the airdrop for our token. So you're always more than welcome to join us, guys.
Awesome, that's interesting. Thanks so much. It's really a pleasure to host this tonight, and I really enjoy it. And even though it came a bit late, and I've been busy since, so I would say it's a great one. And thanks for the transparency. Thanks everyone for the question. If you do have any certain question, do want to join to the DTVT community. I'm sure they're going to address this question there. It's really a pleasure. Any final word from your side, Anton, and any conclusion word from your side, then let me know before we wrap things up.
Okay.
So what do you guys have to say from your end before we wrap things up from here?
Anton, any last words?
No, just follow us online. We have literally years of information about us out there. You could just nobody Googles anymore, so use one of the AI models, ChatGPT or whatever. Put in the name of the company and crypto, or just my name, and you'll see our history. And it's there's a lot of, it's a very big opportunity, and I think we're going to do really well. So far, we have outperformed everybody's expectations, including all of the VCs. So,
awesome.
Community, if you have any questions, you can ask that.
Awesome. Thanks once again. We'll be looking forward to have you guys once again, probably at the launch, because we'll be having an open mic section with the past projects. We'll bring on, I think we did a AMA section with Align Network a few weeks back. So once we're having an open mic session, we're looking forward to invite you guys backward after the lunch and all the stuff. So looking forward to see you guys in the nearest future. Do all to have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye, and thanks you once again.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.